5789 State Street in Saginaw. They've brought on the Benjamin Moore paint line to add to their paints. And, of course, they feature everything you need for home decorating at Westside Decorating Center. And a good morning to you. I'm Art Lewis. Nice to have you with us on this Friday morning. It is already the 4th of April and home opener day for the Detroit Tigers later on, 12:45 here on WSGW. And speaking of later on, at 10 o'clock this morning, Rod Bieber and his wife, Catherine Carmichael, will be here. Talk a little music and all kinds of good stuff. At 11 o'clock, Carrie Gustafson from our sales staff, she is our general sales manager, will be here to talk about our Kids World on the 19th of April. But for this hour, we're going to celebrate something else. We're going to celebrate 50 years of positive results in a downtown environment, which I will forever call Pride. And I chuckle about it because I remember when they first changed it to Positive Results, I just kept saying Pride, Pride, Pride. And sure enough, Pride ended up back in the logo, which I was very pleased about. And with us to talk about it this morning, first of all, the gal who's been associated with Pride for as long as I can remember, runs the show, at least for now. She is Jeannie Conyers. Hi, Jeannie.
Hi, Art. And you know, you were instrumental in getting that Pride in Saginaw back into the logo.
Oh, well, I'm glad to know that.
You were.
Add it to my resume. And a board member, former chair, all kinds of stuff. Linda McGee, good morning.
Good morning.
How long have you been involved with Pride?
Oh, I think I first got involved back in the 90s.
You were still at then Second National Bank.
Yes. And then we left Saginaw for about 3 years.
Yeah.
And when I came back, Jeannie said, would you? And I said, sure. So I came back on the board.
Uh-huh. And you were president of the board for a while.
I was,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
She
And Jeannie,
also-
how long have you been with Pride? Oh, you are Pride.
She is. She is.
Just shy of 30 years.
30 years.
I can't believe it. I think, where did 30 years go?
Yeah, well, I can tell you.
It seemed to go so fast, you know.
So let's go back to the very beginning, and neither of you were involved then, but why Pride? How did it come about?
Well, back in the 60s, Saginaw was very vibrant in retail, as you know.
Yep.
And, I mean, busy place. I remember as a kid coming Christmas shopping in downtown Saginaw. You could get anything you wanted. You know, it was great. But when the 70s rolled around, the move to the suburbs and the malls happened.
Yep.
And the retail moved out to the malls, most of it. And it left a lot of empty holes. And you know what happens when you see that in a downtown? It kind of becomes a scary
the bubble.
Yeah, it's a scary place to be. And Saginaw got that image that, like many, I mean, Muskegon, Grand Rapids, a lot of towns went down at the same route. But so the business leaders, Junior Achievement, and the city of Saginaw got together and formed Pride in Saginaw, Positive Results in a Downtown Environment, in order to try to retain the business that was still there and bring other business back. And
the initial purpose was economic development.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yes, and beautification. They wanted to make sure that it was, looking clean and nice. But I think what happened is when Saginaw Future was developed through the city, they kind of took on that role of
economic development.
Yep, and they do a great job. But Pride kind of morphed more into being a special events. Let's bring the people back downtown. Let's show them it's clean and it's safe. And we are very successful with that. We bring 100,000 people to downtown Saginaw every year.
And, you know, the thing, and I've said this many, many times, if you were to look at a crime map of Saginaw, the area with the least amount right downtown.
Right.
But yet, it scared everybody because of all the other news.
Right. You know, there's still people I run into sometimes that'll say, I'm not going downtown. I can't believe you work downtown. And they just need to come down and see it's not what they think it is.
No.
Well, especially now with, the Saginaw Spirit and everything that goes on in the
happening.
Dow and everything that goes on in the Temple. it really is a hub for entertainment and family entertainment.
Yep, absolutely. And of course, Pride has found that out on Friday nights.
Oh, yes.
Because Friday Night Live has been, how many years now? It's
27.
Yeah, entering our 27th year.
That was an idea of Linda's. She came up with that idea, kind of stole the idea a little bit.
I didn't come up with the idea. I stole the idea with their permission. With their permission from Traverse City.
Yeah, we drove up to Traverse City in a snowstorm. It's like I said to Linda, "You still want to go today? It's a big snowstorm." She said, "Sure." And I'm thinking, didn't know you that well. I thought, well, I've taken my life in my hands.
So when you created this, Linda, did you do it to bring people downtown for entertainment, or bring them downtown so they could see Second National Bank?
No, and actually it was to bring them downtown for entertainment. It was, it was right on the heels of the Macker ending.
Yep.
And we wanted to have another signature event like the Macker was. And this just literally fell into my lap. I was driving up to Traverse City and listening to the radio, and they were talking about it, and it was like, oh. So that's what prompted the whole thing for us to go and investigate further. And they gave us the roadmap. Of course, they've got a little different environment up there with Front Street that they could shut it down. And Washington Avenue is a little bit trickier to shut down.
But you had a park.
But we had Morley Plaza, yes.
Yeah, that worked out well.
It did.
And that's been 27 years. So we'll talk a little later about what's coming up this year. But when we look back at the history of Pride, 50 years now, what stands out as the biggest achievement, would you say?
Well, that's a good question. Nobody's asked me that before. I think the success in bringing people back downtown and getting them to reinvest in downtown, and to know that it's our central business district, our central city is very important to all the outlying areas. And if you don't have a strong downtown, it's really hard to develop the suburbs in the county. So it plays an important role in where Saginaw, the Great Lakes Bay region goes.
Yeah, I think downtown has a very different look than it did in the 60s and 70s, but it's still a viable downtown, and it's evolving. With the Medical Diamond,
I was just going to ask.
It's going to be even more.
What does the Medical Diamond mean to Saginaw, to downtown Saginaw?
Oh, it'll be huge.
Yeah. The fact that we do have things in place, like the Dow Event Center and the Event Park and the Temple Theater and everything that Positive Results does, it's a little carrot to people that are in the area to come downtown and find out what a gem we really have.
A couple of more nice restaurants would be good.
Yes.
Right, and those are in process, I believe.
Yeah, I know the Savoy is undergoing a major, I think more major than what they thought, renovation. But that'll be great to have
and
back
the former
open.
Sandwich shop on Washington, across from the old Saginaw, from SVRC.
Valerie?
Valeries, yeah.
Yes,
it used to be
thank you.
Wally's,
I forgot the name.
Yep, yep, yeah. They do a very nice lunch crowd every day. SVRC does a very nice lunch crowd every day.
Well, these are good things developing,
Mm-hmm.
and then that's the good thing about it, is the news is positive about what's coming up.
And to draw people here, there's not just the things that Pride does, but what a lot of people in Saginaw don't realize, that when we have the Saginaw Bay Symphony Orchestra, we have the Temple Theater, we have all of those events at Jolt Credit Union or Jolt Park and the Dow Event Center, and we've got Pit and Balcony Theater, we've got the Choral Society. Saginaw Choral Society.
You've got the Art Museum, the Children's Museum, that are all in that downtown environment.
I'm going to tell you something, and I've said this till I'm blue in the face, too. It would be difficult for anybody to point to a city in this country of a population of 400,000, if we take Saginaw Bay, Midland counties and put them together, where you have 2 symphony orchestras, multiple theater companies, multiple art institutions, multiple choral societies, you name it. Where else are you going to find that in a city of 400,000?
Exactly.
Nowhere.
exactly. I kind of look at that. It's funny that you mentioned that because there's been talk over the years about how all of these things should merge, and it's interesting because Midland, Bay City, and Saginaw, very close proximity geographically, but are all a little bit different makeup. They're all just a little bit different, and I kind of equate ourselves to like a mini New York. We've got things just right around the corner, like you would in the theater district in New York, that you could go and, we can go do this tonight, or we can go do that tonight. And it's all within a short distance. We went to Midland last night to watch the Queen tribute, and it was phenomenal. But people need to understand that we all bring something to the table.
How did I miss that?
I don't know.
Queen is my favorite group.
Oh,
How did I miss that?
they were. I'm sorry, they were good.
You didn't have to tell me that. Oh, well, and we'll just touch on Midland one more time. The Midland Center for the Arts has had this space exhibit called Infinite.
It's phenomenal.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
It only goes till the 19th. But in the same way that draws people from Saginaw to go to Midland, what happens in downtown Saginaw draws people from Midland to come downtown. It works both ways. This is a region that's attached.
And Friday Night Live is a perfect example. We get people from the Thumb. We get people from Flint.
Well, you get an average of, about 4,000 or 5,000 people?
Yeah, it depends on the night.
Yeah,
4,000 to 5,000. You get to like Motown night, or if we had when we had Larry McRae, it's a much larger crowd.
Sure.
But yeah.
And they all spent the same $1 to get in.
Yeah. Zero. Zero.
All right, we're going to take a break, come back. We're talking about positive results in the downtown environment, forever known as Pride, and their 50th anniversary. More ahead with Linda and Jeannie when we return. We're back with you. And in studio with us from Pride, the positive results in the downtown environment, 50th year of history. We have Jeannie Conger, who's been the professional for all 30 of those years anyway. Linda McGee, who's been on the board almost that long. And celebrating 50 years. And how are you going to celebrate those 50 years?
Well, we're obviously everything we do this year will be tagged with our 50th anniversary, but we're having a huge celebration. Huge celebration.
How big is it?
We're going to be at the Dow Event Center on May 2nd in the Red Room for celebrating 50 years with the good vibes of the 70s. So it's a 70s themed party. It is also our annual fundraiser.
Well, you're telling me I got to get out my leisure suits?
You got to get out that leisure suit.
Don't have it anymore.
Or the bell bottoms, or and I think the long hair is probably not an option anymore for any of the guys.
A wig.
But we're going to have 70s music. We're going to have 70s themed food. We're going to have. We're encouraging everybody to come in 70s attire.
What is 70s themed food?
Well, I'm telling you, some of it I don't want to eat. No. Yeah, and we're being selective. It will have normal food in there, but you know what was big in the 70s? Jell-O molds. Ugh.
Oh, you took them to every party. Yeah.
I like Jell-O.
Yeah.
Everything goes well with Jell-O.
Everything goes well with Jell-O.
Well, that may or may not be not on the menu, but we're also of course, one of the big dances in the 70s was the hustle. Some of us need refreshers on it because I don't remember how to do it, even though I'm a product of the 70s.
And the bump. Remember the bump?
I was pretty good at that.
But we're gonna have Angela Markle, who teaches dance. She's gonna come and teach everybody how to do the hustle, and we're gonna have just all sorts of, like, obviously decorated for the 70s. But it's gonna be lots of fun. We're gonna make it high energy and a lot of fun, and tickets are available through the Positive Results downtown office. We have tickets that are $150 per couple, $90 per individual, or if you want to get a group of your friends together and get a table of 8, which is actually a little bit cheaper way to do it, it's a table for $500. We're encouraging people to decorate their tables, and we'll have a prize for the best decorated table.
Ooh,
yeah.
It's party time.
Just think of, lava lamps and disco balls and tie-dye and all that sort of fun stuff.
Let me ask, since it was so recent, what did the Memorial Cup mean to downtown Saginaw?
Oh, it drew a lot of visitors to downtown.
About 10,000, yeah.
And it just really, I think that the way I look at it is it just really put Saginaw on the map, that we may be a smaller town in population, but we certainly know how to pull off an event like that. And Saginaw Spirit, they did such a great job. Kayla running that, she just did an awesome job. I don't think I wanted her job.
I don't think anybody
That's
wanted
for sure.
her job.
At least it was something that you knew was going to come to a finish at a certain point, that it wasn't ongoing forever. But yeah, it was,
You mean like Pride?
Yeah. We end one event and move right on to the next.
Okay, so let me just touch on this because I don't want to dwell on this too much, Jeannie, but you have publicly announced that you're in the throes of retirement. Is that right?
Right. I've been retiring for the last 3 years.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's been a while. But
we just won't accept it.
It kind of, you do an event, and I say, well, this is going to be somebody else's next year. And, it got to be a joke now. People say, oh, yeah, sure. But I am in the process of it. And so what I probably will miss most is all the people. I just love people. But I don't know, maybe I'll open up my house and say, everybody come over. I don't know. Jim's going to love that.
Yeah.
Jim, you're not listening, are you?
Pride in the Conger home.
Well, Jeannie's been such a pivotal and an important part of Positive Results because she's really taken, when she was hired in, she was told that the job description was a part-time clerical job.
Yeah.
And you can see from almost 30 years ago to where we are today, that's not the case. That it's been a very involved, organized, pulling volunteers from every crevice of Saginaw that you possibly can to make these events happen. And she's been the coach, she's been the cheerleader, and she's been the manager.
Well, thank you, Linda. But, there's something unique about Saginaw. I don't know that other towns are like this, but I've seen, say you need something. There's always somebody in Saginaw to help. Some business, somebody knows how to get it done.
Yeah, that's true. And,
yes.
And that's, you have to have that unity, don't you? You really do.
Right. We do have the support of the business community and the people who live here.
Well, and I think a lot of that goes back to that everyone has a sense of pride in Saginaw. So if they can do something that makes Saginaw shine a little bit brighter, they're more than willing to jump up and help. Case in point, the Memorial Cup. That's another, that was another shining star.
Volunteers.
Yeah, that was another shining star for Saginaw. And the amount of volunteers were pouring in.
Yep. All right, we're going to take a break, come back, talk to our guests more. Pride in Saginaw, Positive Results in a Downtown Environment, celebrating 50 years. Let me take a moment to talk about Quick Lane Freeland, right next to my car dealer, McDonald Ford. Quick Lane Freeland is a one-stop shop for all your routine maintenance, like oil changes, brakes, tires, batteries, you name it. And they work on all makes and models of cars, no matter what it is, and they keep them in tip-top shape. at Quick Lane Freeland. And you've heard me talking about their tire sale. Just $5 over cost for brand new tires. Brand new tires for manufacturers you recognize. These are not off-brands. Michelin, Goodyear, BF Goodrich. And not only are they selling them at just $5 over cost, but some of these tires come with an additional $60 to $100 in rebates. There is extra for installation, including balancing and lifetime tire repairs. They have a wonderful customer lounge with internet service and free ice cream bars waiting for you at Quick Lane Freeland next to McDonald Ford. And if you're in the market for a new or previously owned vehicle, take a look at the many vehicles available at McDonald Ford, including many tariff-free Fords. Keep that in mind. Quick Lane Freeland next to McDonald Ford.
Confidence is no
Yes, indeed. Home opener for the Detroit Tigers today, and the national anthem sung by our very own Brian Darcy James. Yay!
Yay.
And I think the first pitch is being thrown out by somebody from Saginaw, too. I forgot who it was. But anyway, we are talking about Saginaw. We're talking about downtown Saginaw. We're talking about pride, positive results in a downtown environment with Jeannie Conger and Linda McGee. Jeannie, of course, has been the professional on staff since, well, for 30 years. Linda's been there egging her on from the board position.
Let's do this. What do you think about this?
So, Jeannie, you've been through a lot downtown. You've seen it morph. You've seen it change. If you could change one thing, if you could wave a wand at downtown Saginaw, what would you do?
I think I would first try to change everybody's perspective of downtown. Perception is the word I'm looking for, because it gets a bad rap. It's even like yesterday. I was talking to the Chamber of Commerce perk breakfast, and you always hear that term sag and sag nasty.
You don't ever hear it.
Most people don't know where that came from. And it was never a negative. It was for those that don't know, Saginaw High had a very popular winning basketball team. And back in the day when they were playing basketball, people would say, "Oh, here comes Saginaw," and they'd say, "We're not just Saginaw, we're Sag Nasty." That's how it was intended, a basketball term.
Unfortunately,
yeah,
its connotation
morphed
into downtown.
Right,
and
so
it had no
point of
reference at all. Exactly.
And so that's why I always tell people, when you hear that, make sure you set them straight on how the story of where that came from, because we prefer Sag and Awesome.
Yes, absolutely.
And so I think that we do a good job of trying to. I'd like to see a couple more restaurants, like you and I had mentioned, come down, and I know that will happen, and especially with the Medical Diamond coming in and future of a hotel coming back downtown and things like that. There's a lot that's going to happen, not right away. Takes a couple of years. Yeah, it's going to be in probably 3. I think I heard 3 development phases.
There's phases, yes.
Yeah, and but it'll be here before you know it.
Well, I just I scratch my head sometimes that it's easy to create a perception. You can do it in 5 minutes, and it takes you 50 years to get rid of it. And so you're in your 50th year. It should be gone by now.
Well, there still were some stores back in the 70s when.
I came in. There were still.
Yeah, Jacobson's till I'm not sure how long.
Morley's was downtown.
Yeah,
there were quite a bit.
Sightner's
Sightner's was downtown. There were businesses on Washington because our buddy
Schaefer Hat Store.
Schaefer Hat Store,
Yes.
and and practically right next to him was Dave Opperman with his travel business, Opperman Travel. There were a lot of things going on downtown.
Yeah, it was 1985 when I moved to Saginaw.
I came in '74, so
Yeah.
I saw a lot more of it
Yep.
than you did.
Yep.
But it has, like every other town, it's been an evolution or a de-evolution, if you will, because of what's happened in suburban America.
Right. And we're having the Castle Museum is having an exhibit on Pride. 50 years
Another
of Pride.
downtown gem.
Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
yes. And Tom Tromley and I were talking, and he says, cities do change. It's normal to go through different phases of, where your strengths are, and over so many years. So I don't know all the history he could tell you, but there's been a lot of different changes in Saginaw over the hundreds of years.
Yeah, we're lucky to have the museum to document it because we just had this discussion yesterday with someone. With the lack of newspapers, who's documenting the history of a city? If I wanted to know what happened in 1924 in Saginaw, I could go to the Hoyt Library downtown and sit at their microfiche machines and look up all the news of the day from the date I'm looking at in 1924 because the newspaper's there. Who's going to be able to look at 2025 in Saginaw 50
Right.
years from now and say what went on today?
True.
It's a loss. That is a loss. But you got to move on.
That we do.
Yep. So we trust the internet will document everything.
Now, in the future, we'll just have to say, I wonder what happened, and it'll just come to us. We just have to think it, and it'll
That's what it
it'll
is.
come
The
to us.
AI in the
That's
brain.
right. That's
We'll
right.
take a break and be back. One final segment.
RocketGrabPlus.com.
Craving something sweet? Fuzzy's Restaurant and Ice Cream Parlor has got
Hi, we're back with you here on WSGW. We're talking to Linda McGee, member of the board for Pride, celebrating its 50th year, positive results in a downtown environment, and the person who's run the organization for 30 years, and she is Jeannie Conger. I guess we should tell everybody, since tickets are available for the celebrating 50 years with the good vibes of the 70s, where you can buy those tickets.
The easiest way is call Jeannie.
Go to our website.
You can go,
to our
yeah. You can go to the website, which is prideinsaginaw.org or .com, either way. Or you can
Or call Jeannie.
Call Jeannie at 989-753-9168. Or if you know anybody that happens to be on the board, they'd be more than happy to
I'll bet you would.
direct you to the source. So if you
bet
know
you
me,
would.
ask me.
Friday, May 2nd at the Dow Event Center, 6 o'clock for cocktails, 7 o'clock for dinner, 8:30 dancing and fun.
We'll let everybody have fun before then, too. It's
Well,
not
I would get-
necessarily.
yeah. I would assume. So, if we look at some of the things that Pride has done over the years that are no longer around, you were involved in the Gus Macker,
That's correct.
which was a 3-on-3 basketball tournament for those that don't remember. It was a fundraising event. And it ran, about 3 years?
Actually, it ran.
Ran more than 3?
Yeah, I think it was
it-
close to 9 years. Is it
Oh, was it
Oh,
really?
I think it was longer than that. Even.
90 to 99? Wasn't it?
Okay,
Yeah.
that could be. Yeah. Well, the reason we didn't do it, the reason we stopped doing it was because when the Mackers started, there was only 3 Mackers in the state.
Right.
You had one in the UP, you had one on the west side of the state, I think, in Belding, and then Saginaw one. So a lot of people came here to play in the Macker, and the time that we stopped doing the Macker, there were 28 Gus Mackers in the
Everybody
state of
jumped
Michigan.
on the bandwagon.
You're right, and you found families wanted to go to Tawas. They wanted to go to Ludington, where they could go and camp for the weekend, and it was a vacation,
Yeah.
an extended weekend for the family. So it was a little bit tougher to get people to come, to Saginaw for the tournament. And when we costed it out, we realized that we needed